We are excited to be launching our next podcast series, which is interviewing Golden Hoodie winners from around the world who've got amazing Trailblazer stories. A Golden Hoodie winner is somebody that Salesforce has recognised as being a true trailblazer, somebody who gives back but also is an expert in their domain. And we can't wait to share these stories with you. Tune in, listen, and be inspired at these amazing stories and give them kudos on social media for everything they've done. And what I would recommend is definitely tune in and follow in their footsteps. Enjoy, and we look forward to getting your feedback.
If your leadership team is pushing you to deploy Agentforce yesterday, you already know the real challenge isn't the AI itself, it's the environment you're building it on. To orchestrate autonomous workflows, you need to feed your agents deep, flawless context about your metadata and business processes. That's why Hubble created the intelligence layer. We give you total operational clarity, telling you exactly how to clean up and structure your org so your AI actually works. Stop guessing. Build Agentforce with absolute confidence at hubble.com.
Welcome, everybody, to the Mums on Cloud9 podcast show. We're delighted to have you here today. And today we are continuing our series of introducing Golden Hoodie winners in the Salesforce ecosystem. Now, these are a lot of the unsung heroes in the ecosystem that are doing amazing things, and little do we know about them. So we wanted to bring these stories to life. And today I'm delighted to have Katie with us today, who won her Golden Hoodie. I say won, was recognised and given an amazing Golden Hoodie in 2023 at Dreamforce in the admin keynote, which must have been absolutely amazing to be recognised in front of all those people, Katie. So, Katie, welcome to the show with us today. Do you want to just share with people a little bit about the backstory of getting your Golden Hoodie and why that all came about?
Yeah, I guess I'll just start at the beginning. I never knew about the Trailblazer community really until after COVID. I got started during COVID, and then when I found the Trailblazer community, I really wanted to speak and be a part of it, but I didn't know what to talk about. I wasn't really confident in speaking a technical talk. And so I started talking about my relationship with my bipolar disorder and Salesforce, and how Salesforce and the Trailblazer community had helped me heal and be a better professional. And I shared that session at a bunch of community conferences and even at Dreamforce one year. And a lot of people kind of rallied around the message. And we had a community of people who valued talking about mental health and mental illness and how it affects them as Salesforce professionals. I was able to bring that to Salesforce and say, hey, I've got a community here and I really want to have a user group to continuously meet and to continuously have these conversations. And so, and they allowed me to do that. And in 2023, like you said, at the admin keynote, I was awarded the Golden Hoodie for not only being a role model in the Trailblazer community by sharing what I know technically and by getting certified, but also for creating this group. And in this group, we are a virtual group, so anybody can join. We have some folks from the UK that join us too sometimes. But we share resources and we have, meaningful conversations and we create connections. And it's just a bright spot once a month that I can bring a user group meeting together and help people talk about mental health and mental illness in our profession and in our daily lives. And so, yeah, I was awarded the Golden Hoodie for creating a user group that wasn't just an admin track or a developer track or architect or women in tech track, because those were the only types of user groups you could have at the time. But post-COVID, I was able to do something a little bit different virtually. Now that we knew how to connect virtually after the pandemic, and that opened the door for a lot of other groups, a lot of other identities to come together and have their own virtual groups as well.
That's amazing. I think it's so important that we, we can have a great career in Salesforce, but there's so much stuff going on for people, and we find that with our mums through Super Mums as well. The reason we set up Mums on Cloud9 was to actually provide more of that pastoral support, that mental health support. So what you've done and the topic and the group you created is exactly aligned to kind of what we see in here, because you can only thrive at work if you're thriving personally. Like
True.
those
Yeah.
two things have to co-align. So it's
Mhm.
really fantastic that Salesforce enabled that and empowered you to do that. And it's a group that actually we should encourage more. I don't think, we don't necessarily let our super mums know about it. So this is a great point to say, right, to our super mums, join this group if it's something that's going to be valuable. If it's, as you mentioned, Katie, you openly share about you bipolar. So it might be something that is you're aware of and know about, but also that can be that emotional up and down, like people who went through COVID, for example, or dealing with things at home or divorce. We find a lot of people, you're on this journey of life where it can be health conditions or family matters or whatever can throw you. So I think it's fantastic you've created this space because we have to weather all this stuff as well as showing up at work, putting a smile on our face
Yeah.
and cracking on and doing a good job. Like,
Yeah.
how do I weather it all? And I think people finding the right counselor or finding those people or having to pay for those people can be hard. And
Mhm.
certainly I found similar to you, what you created for yourself, having a space where, when I was going through a divorce, I joined this group of people who understood me, they understand my situation. I think having that in a Salesforce space where people understand the type of work you do creates an alignment, doesn't it? And it's free, right? So it's a great place to start and then be referred to other support. So no, it's fantastic and it definitely needed. So Katie, you said you got into Salesforce just after COVID. Like, what is your backstory in the career? And you said that you live in a log cabin. So I want to tell us a bit more about,
Love
how
that.
you've managed to launch your career in Salesforce and how you work in a log cabin every day.
I live in a log cabin with 14 acres and I have three fainting goats.
I love that.
I went to school to be a farmer. I did not become a farmer, but I live a rural life. I lived out that dream, but just didn't want to tie myself to it professionally after some serious time studying and learning what it takes to be a farmer. And I ended up graduating in communications and mass communications, journalism and stuff. And I couldn't find a job because I graduated during the Great Recession here. So I bounced around from job to job. I refinanced mortgages. I worked as a data analyst in the energy business. And then I landed at a software that used Salesforce internally to record cases and manage its business, but it wasn't it I actually ended up in the call center. And that is a tough job. Always be nice to your call center people when you call
Oh,
in.
feel like
They're
they're
doing their
dealing
best.
with a lot of
But
people
that
as well.
introduced Salesforce. And they had a really great setup there. Their system was on point. They had business processes. They were always showing us the latest and greatest developments that they had. They were training us. And I just thought Salesforce in every company worked that way until I went to my next company as a sales person. They had Salesforce and it was kind of neglected. And I was like, what is this thing that calls itself Salesforce? And I was not really good at sales. So, I went in with all these ideas and I knew what the capabilities and the potential Salesforce had. And I was sharing what I had seen at the other company. And they didn't have a dedicated admin. They had an accidental admin who was doing two jobs. And since I wasn't so good at sales, I asked if I could do that job instead. And they said,
Right.
sure. And so I jumped into Trailhead and learned in real time and had hands-on experience and was able to execute what I learned in Trailhead in real time at this company who I was very lucky to have only one cloud, no integrations. It was very fresh, very new, very untouched. So it was like a real life, genuine Trailhead for me. And it was the perfect learning environment to get my feet wet. And I was there for a long time, but I needed to grow. That's when I met the Trailblazer community and I learned all the things that people could know in this job and all the learning opportunities. And I needed to step out and, get exposed to more. And so that's what I did. And I am now at a company where I am an admin on a team, and I've never been on a team before. I've always managed everything. So I'm learning what it's like to be not in control. And yeah, and working with other groups and seeing roles on display like solution architects. Like and I was like, oh, I actually was already doing that and I didn't know
Mm.
that. So, they always say admins are architects, but now I get to learn it on a deeper level and really have someone kind of mentor me. And that's what I really want to do because I want to grow in Salesforce. I want to grow. Salesforce is growing so fast. I want to grow with it. I think everybody feels the hustle of learning something new and staying on top of it. And that's what I'm trying to do. It's
I
trying to,
think you absolutely are. You're definitely growing with everything. I mean, the passion in your voice, I mean, it's no wonder that you've won a Golden Hoodie because, it really does come across. Something that you said that really resonated with me was the fact that you fall in love with Salesforce as an end user and you know that that's the road you want to take. So I think that's what happened to me as well. So a little bit resonating. I mean, you've already given us some great insight into what you've done previously, what you're doing now, but along the way, what is your biggest, would you say, where you've gone, aha, what's your biggest aha moment?
I mean, honestly, I'll give you my latest aha moment. I don't know
Okay.
what the biggest one is, but my latest one, I was having a really good conversation with Rebecca Sarr, and I told her, I was like, I always thought that my career would grow to be an architect someday, or maybe dabble sometime as a developer. And, I would move on from being an admin. But I realize the role of the admin stays with you in each and every job, and you will never stop being an admin, even if you take on a role with a different name. Does that make sense?
That's definitely makes
I'm
sense.
I'm
And
still
it's
I'm
so
still
true.
an admin now. I'm a CEO and I'm still the admin.
I feel
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just admin's where we begin, but it never ends.
Yeah, again, it's so true because everything you dip into, you need to have that foundation before you can think about doing anything else. Absolutely. And I think, from that, I mean, that is a really great, powerful insight that you've given us. I mean, a lot of people, I'm sure, will be listening and really totally relating to what you're saying. And I think this is where the power of community comes in, doesn't it? Because, we're talking now, but you'll take this away and you'll go and talk to other people. And, community is everything, I think. It's just so great to share your story with other people.
And that brings me around to you're part of a Latin American group, Katie, and you helped establish that. Was that just for women or is that wider? Do you want to share a little bit more about how that came about?
Oh, I don't want to take credit for establishing it. I just, I just, I want to be, so the Latinx Hispanic community stateside is very quiet. And
Mm.
it's not, I don't feel like it is as strong as it is when I see overseas in like the overseas communities, like folks in South America coming together or out in Spain and Europe and stuff like that. The US Latino and Hispanic community just hasn't really glued itself together. And there's so many great trailblazers that really deserve their voices to be lifted up because they have a lot to contribute. And we can share so much knowledge with each other and bring that identity. And this might be opinion. I don't know if people agree with me or not, but I just had this idea. Originally, it just started off with a talk track about Latinas in tech and how it takes a year and 10 months for a Latina in tech to be paid the same amount as a white man from a year ago. So it takes a year and
Wow.
10 months to make the same amount of money a white man made in 1 year.
Interesting.
And we're underpaid, underrepresented. There's not a lot of opportunity, overlooked, and we are just as capable and just as smart. And I brought this topic and I spoke with Stephanie Herrera and Susanna Plested. And we had a really great turnout for that conversation at TDX 24.
Mm.
And after that, I just felt like there just needs to be a voice, and there are voices, and I'm just going to raise mine with everybody else's. And some people did come out of the woodwork, and I just try to serve as a facilitator to introduce folks. There was a group of women who were meeting on LinkedIn, And I really encourage them to become an official community group. And I watched their journey closely and help them wherever I could. And now they are the group, and they're the voices of the Latinas in Salesforce. And I'm very proud of them. And actually, one of them was joined on the board for Soñando and Calor, which is a Latino and Hispanic community conference in conjunction with the Dream in Color conference. And so it's just being an activist, and it's
Yeah.
about speaking up and representing and providing opportunities to come together, because I really want to see this community be as strong as I see it in other places in the world. But I think in the US, we have some biases that may prevent ourselves from coming together, or there's a stigma sometimes, and I just want to knock all of that down and just connect everybody. But they have a Latinos meetup at Dreamforce and TDX, and there's a great turnout, and mad props to the organizers who submit that every year. So yeah, I always go, but a lot of times there's a lot of surprise from the attendees of meeting each other, and I'm like, let's do this more.
Yeah,
Love
definitely.
that.
Oh, it's
That was
so
long-winded,
important.
so sorry. It's whenever you're talking about, what's ethnicity, it's always have to, I feel like I need to be delicate and not politically correct. And I've talked about this too. I'm pretty outspoken about my own identity being mixed and how much I get to say because I don't share the same experiences.
Mm.
So it's really a interesting conversation that I've had with a lot of other mixed trailblazers as well. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's great to be an activist. And I think, the
Yeah.
thing is, it's about creating role models that other people align to, and that's what we did with Supermums. That's what you've done, in these other communities, and seeing all these other communities pop up that you kind of initiated, I think is so important because it's those role models where you see, well, somebody like me has achieved X, Y, Z. If they can do it, I can do it too, but also understanding what you can do. So this takes me back around to the question where you said, where do you want to grow, Katie? Like in terms of AI is the big thing with Salesforce now, Agent Force and everything else. So how is AI and Agent Force shaping where you see yourself going next in the ecosystem?
Great question.
Yeah, man. Insider information, I have huge imposter syndrome when it comes to AI. A lot of people, Heather, you may feel this way. A lot of people who may not be as involved with the community see the gold jacket and they're like, you know everything about Salesforce. You have one of those shiny jackets. And it's a lot of pressure
Mm.
to receive, I feel like. And I need to tell myself, and I like to share with others, it's okay to be on your own learning journey. I am still in the beginning parts of AI as far as Agent Force goes. My company doesn't use it. What I use is in the Agent Force Now webinars that they offer for free, and then like Trailhead. And I'm not on the forefront cutting edge using it every day as much as I'd like to be, but to everybody out there, that's okay. There's a lot of us out there like us.
Absolutely.
It is okay. I'm a big fan of prompt builder. That's where I started. That's where AI starts, is with your prompts. I got to know that really well. And then I'm using tools outside of Agentforce. My company is allowing us to have a closed end ChatGPT in our company. And I'm learning how to use that. As much as I just want to use Agentforce, you got to use the tools available to you to get a better understanding of it holistically. And then, we can apply it to Agentforce. Really work on those prompts, do the workshops, do the trailheads. I use it all the time to help me understand flows, all these flows in a company that I didn't build those flows, so and there's no help descriptions in the flows.
NB, please put them in. Great
Yeah.
idea.
I mean, I'm putting my descriptions in my flow elements, but yeah, so that's a lot of reason why I use AI and ChatGPT and stuff in our closed-end GPT. But I also ask it for help building flows sometimes. I'm like, what's the best way? I use it as a starting point, and I think it's a well known message now use it to get started, I feel like. Don't use it as the Bible. Like it is not 100% right all the time. So yeah, just learn how to like I gave a speech or a session at Dreamforce about prompt building and combining that with flow and taking
Amazing.
my message and posting it to Slack. Think about like how you can combine all the tools and not just use it in the silo in the way that it's presented on Trailhead. So just be creative about it, but you don't have to know everything about it.
Again, I speak to so many people just like that, who say to me, Katie, I feel like I've got this imposter syndrome because there's so much out there. There's so many tools out there, and it's not a one size fits all. Often there's a tool for something. I know Heather loves Gamma. She uses Gamma a lot for creating her slide decks. But in terms of, I know you've already said that ChatGPT is your go-to. I do not know how I lived before ChatGPT because it does everything for me now. It's my assistant. I use ChatGPT for everything. But would you say ChatGPT is your main go-to, or do you have another favorite AI tool that you use?
I use ChatGPT.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think my friend Mike Reynolds, he said, instead of Googling, we Google with AI.
we
It's still
do.
getting us the information, but we still got to research it, make sure it's right. But yeah, I'm using actually ChatGPT. I have tennis elbow right now.
Oh no.
Bless you.
And I'm a
Yeah.
weightlifter, and so that's a problem. But I am
Oh,
learning to balance my physical therapy with my weightlifting, and it guides me through my recovery, and it's been doing really well.
wow.
So,
Crazy. That's
yeah.
crazy. I use it for absolutely everything from what I eat on a daily basis. So
Mm.
it's ChatGPT is a big part of my life.
Does Kev get jealous, Lynn?
Yes, me too.
Do you talk to ChatGPT more than Kev now?
I
I
do.
like to be
I
like,
definitely do.
I like to tell my GPT that I have, this ingredient, this ingredient. I think I can make something like this, and then it'll pop out a recipe for me, and
I
I'll,
love it. That's
It's a
great.
whole conversation, isn't it,
yeah,
ChatGPT?
yeah.
Yeah.
Like you
But
Okay.
said.
I love it for validations and flows though when it
Yeah.
comes to, and then actually I did just enable setup for Agentforce in my
Oh wow.
sandbox and it so so you can enable conversations and I couldn't get it. I could not get it turned on. And I was like, listen, I have this permission set. I did this. I have this. I have, data cloud, whatever enabled. I was like, why can't I turn on this feature? It said that my data cloud wasn't properly fully integrated in my sandbox. And so that was the reason. And it's not going to be because it's a sandbox. So now I know using
Oh
setup
no.
for Agentforce why I can't use setup for Agentforce conversion.
Mm.
Yeah, but I mean, it was helpful. Like, even though it wasn't, the full feature, I was still able to use it. And I still can when I'm looking at permission sets and all that other stuff.
So if
Play
you
with it where you can.
and that's in terms of you said about using Prompt Builder, where are you using Prompt Builder day to day if you're not using Agent Force? Does that
Oh,
help you with certain tasks as an admin?
well, I'm not using Prompt Builder alone, and I'm not using Agentforce. Learning about prompt building has helped me when I prompt GPT, where I
Right.
can use it, when I
Yeah.
prompted setup for Agentforce. So when Prompt Builder came out, I had rotator cuff surgery. And
Mm.
I had nothing to do except learn, like Prompt Builder was all over. And I did the quests. They asked for videos about Trailblazers using Prompt Builder, and I just sat there with my arm in a sling and I
Brilliant.
really dug into prompt building. And for anybody who's starting their AI journey, you really have to understand that first step to get what you want out of Agentforce. And so, or GPT or Claude or whatever like that. It
Mm.
all begins with prompt building. So that's what I focused on when AI first came out. And they've made a lot of updates to Prompt Builder just in the last year since I presented last at Dreamforce. And so I got to go back now and see what all the new updates are to the new Prompt Builder. And it looks totally different than what I presented on. So
Yeah. Interesting. It's a great recommendation of where to start. And I think I was at Dream LA last week, and the one of the guest speakers, a keynote speaker, was talking about what they're covering at TDX around Agent Force. And it
Mhm.
made you realize, going back to the imposter syndrome piece, Katie, the thing is
Mhm.
in Salesforce, you can go in different product niches, right? You can decide where you're going to focus your time. Agent Force is layering on everything. But the reality of what he shared with you is that Agent Force is something is a full-time job learning it, and it's evolving so quickly. So I think it's not something everybody has to do. Like you say, if it's not part of your full-time job now, don't worry too much. It's not something you need to be in. But if it's you, then it's something that you could jump into and become an expert in, because there's so much going on with that right now. It blew my mind away, all the different facets of it. I was like, wow, it isn't just a side hustle, is it? You're in it fully
Yeah.
and building it. And I think you have to be building it to know it and to really benefit from it. And like, on the alternative side to that is like yourself, Katie, you're just using AI to support you as in your day-to-day role as an admin. And that's fine too, and
Yeah.
it's just weighing in on the level that you want to.
I feel like, yes, technology moves fast, but it takes a little bit longer for adoption. And I'm just thinking about the companies, the wider companies, because when I go to, and this is for folks who may be feeling the same imposter syndrome, when I go to conferences and I talk to folks about Agent Force, there's a lot of people whose companies haven't adopted it. They're skeptical about security, they're skeptical about, yeah, mostly security. Whenever I hear anybody, it's just security and attaching that. And so it's okay. It takes a while for adoption. So long as you know what's going on, where it's headed, I kind of step back and just kind of let everybody throw everything at the wall. Use AI for this, use AI for that, use it, and I'm seeing what's sticking. And
Yeah.
now, since I watched everybody move forward, I know, like you said, where to spend my time and what interests me the most and what will help me the most and my career and also my company when the time comes, because I'll know, hey, this is a fast win based on what I observed and watched and staying connected to the community and listening to talks and stuff like that. So I may not have my hands on it, but there's still ways to be active in it and keep, your thumb on the pulse of what's the quickest wins, what's the maybe the easiest to learn to get ramped up, or even, hey, you have a complex business problem. I heard about that or know of the possibilities, and let's do that. And I think that's just with AI. And I was talking to, like I said, Rebecca Sarr about this. I said, AI is a new technology. We don't abandon our core admin skills when we approach AI. Even though AI is completely different and turning everything upside down, our skills and our responsibilities are what's going to guide us through this new technology. And so there's no imposter syndrome there. And I know how to be an admin and I know how to figure things out. So we'll figure it out when I get there. But due to the limited resources, I'm going to keep my thumb on the pulse, and I'm just going to stay up to date. And then when that work use case comes through, I'll be ready to go. And I know where to turn for my training when the time comes and all that other stuff.
Great advice.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I could be up there on the front lines deploying agents and stuff. And I'm not sure if that's a message Salesforce wants to be hearing from us, but everybody's in a different place right now. And we'll
But
all
yeah.
catch up to each other eventually. It's still really new. So, yeah.
I think the opportunities aren't there for everybody, are they? Agent Force, as you say, isn't been deployed by all these companies yet. There's obviously some that are and I liked, Katie, how you said you position yourself. There's some that are piloting it at the moment and being the thought leaders. Let them do it first. There's lots of bugs that are still being ironed out, in those processes, in those solutions, in those elements. So I think, those people that have got the capacity, that got the insight, let them run with it. And then at some point, as I say, those opportunities will arise. If you want to position yourself for it, you can be. But absolutely, everybody still needs an admin, somebody managing all the system day to day. It might be that we can get some tasks done quicker with using AI, which is great because we can find solutions faster. So
Exactly.
I think it's
And
great
also
advice.
knowing who's talking about what, I reach out to them, be like, hey, I saw you talk about, XYZ. I'm doing that now. Like, can you help me? And I will say AI, like I do want to turn the conversation to testing. I feel like we need to, and a part of the security conversations companies are having a hard time with, obviously exposing their data, but making sure that it's doing what it needs to do. Testing is going to be the next big thing. So right now, what I'm doing is I'm learning and diving more into testing my flows because I need to learn about assertions, because I need to learn about negative tests, because I need to learn the best practices to maintaining automations so that I can apply that to my AI because that is going to be the next step in this AI direction revolution.
Mm.
So I may not have my hands there yet, but there are things that I can be doing now to be ready when it does come full circle and I have to perform and I can provide a quality output because I've
I
gone
think
through
what
the
you're doing
practices.
is so right. Just keeping yourself relevant, just keeping
Mhm.
yourself back, but also having your finger on the pulse is so important. I think the way that you're positioning your own self, I think it's it's a great way to be. Just wait quietly, just do what you're doing, and it'll all come to fruition at some stage, won't it?
Yeah. Oh, Slackbot. I love Slackbot.
Ah,
We haven't got that
That's
enabled,
some
Lynn. We don't use
we
Slackbot.
need to. Do you know, it's funny you say Slackbot because I've designed some t-shirts for Shirtforce, and part of it I designed a bottle, and it's called Slackbot
Oh,
bottle. It's just
brilliant.
funny you said that. I thought Slackbot, that's my design for my bottle.
Oh, why do you love it, Katie?
well, I love I love it because so I get to use it in the CGL, the community group leaders Slack channel with Salesforce.
Hmm.
I was disappointed to realize, and it makes sense that it wasn't just a free feature to use because I went into my company's Slack channel and I was like, summarize, blah, and I was like, where are you? It's not there. But the CGL channel, TDX is coming up, and I'm like, what are all the CGL things that we that I need to be aware of? What are some of the opportunities that I can, events that I can go to bring back to my user group? Mostly is what I was looking for, or call for networking opportunities. And that just gets buried. There's so
Mm.
many channels and all of this
Yeah.
stuff. And I also didn't have time right then when things were being announced to focus on TDX. I was working on, whatever, my job probably. But I finally had a moment where I was putting my agenda together for TDX and I was wanting to do a user group meetup. And then I was like, oh, let's pull in what's going on in the CGL environment. And I just popped open Slackbot and his eyebrows. And I asked him and his eyebrows,
Brilliant.
what's the latest, what announcements do I need to be aware of for TDX as a user group leader? And it brought up maybe three or four solid points and two of which that I could act on. And it's just it brought everything what I needed to the surface. And that tool is amazing.
We need
Yeah.
it, Heather.
We pay for our Slack versions. We'll see.
It's incredible, and I really wish our company had it
Mm.
to bring relevant information to you.
Mm.
So yeah, I feel like I'm an AI ingester, kind of like how we were talking about how it helps us with our jobs. I was using Agent Force, set up for Agent Force, working on prompt building, doing my own things. And I think that the next step naturally is to provide AI to others, but so use it first, then provide it next. But
Yeah,
um,
definitely. We have to
yeah, but if
experiment
you're
with
not
it.
doing anything with AI, then I would warn and caution you, you may be behind the ball a little bit. But if you're right there in the middle with me, welcome to the majority.
We're with you, Katie. We're right with you.
Yeah.
I need to learn prompt building better, so I'll start with that.
I'm thinking the same thing, actually,
Yeah,
Heather. I'm just
I
thinking that.
I've
I also,
listened to it, but I haven't properly, definitely haven't curated that skill yet.
well, also, I mean, it's not just learning how to prompt to, it's learning the theories of prompt building. I
Mm.
gave I spoke about humans in the loop and humans out of the loop, which is just a theory of, keeping the human in the loop, like checking its accuracy and things like that, rules never to just completely provide what was given and spit out to a customer, and when to involve yourself, when not to involve, or not when to involve yourself, but being aware of when humans are out of the loop. So there's also theories with AI that I kind of dug into.
That's different facets.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
not just hands on keys.
Logic.
Yeah,
You still
exactly.
have to use your brain to come up with a good prompt to get what you want out of it, or else it takes just as blooming long
Yeah.
because you're going around in circles with
I
it.
remember at Dreamforce, they're like, they were showing, I think it was vibe coding before was labeled vibe coding, but, or maybe no, it wasn't vibe coding. Anyways, they were prompting and they were like, this is exactly what we got and exactly what we need. And we put in the prompt real quick, and the prompt was this big.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was like, it would have been a whole workday to put together that prompt. Like it was massive. So sometimes it's keep your eyes open to and your ears open to what's not said and notice
Yeah.
the things that are happening. And so don't get down on yourself because it's not as easy as they say as it should be.
No. I mean,
And
prompting is
ultimately,
definitely a skill.
yeah, ultimately you only get out what you put in, don't you? With everything.
Yeah, AI
Yeah.
included.
Definitely, that's my homework. Well, thank you, Katie, for sharing everything today, and definitely can tell why you got the Golden Hoodie. It's a fantastic story and contribution to the community, which I think is needed, and everybody will benefit, and certainly our Supermums community will benefit from hearing more about it and joining. So, thank you for creating that space. We'll share the link to the group as well as part of the podcast show, so please do check the podcast notes. And I hope you enjoy TDX. Have an amazing
Oh,
time.
thank you. Thank you.
Learning all the new things, and hopefully get to meet you maybe at Dreamforce
Yep,
with
hopefully.
that. Oh, well,
Yeah,
thank you for
thanks,
joining us.
Katie.
All right,
Lovely
thank
to meet
you.
you. Take
Thanks for
care.
joining us, everyone. We'll see you on the next show. Thank you for listening to the Mums on Cloud9 podcast today. We're delighted to have you here, and we can't wait to help you have a career in life that you love. We launched the podcast because we wanted to help women get insight into inspirational stories, advice, and experts from people around the world. Over the last few years, we've spoken to many people who've shared insights, and we want you to learn and to benefit from this to accelerate your own career. Please do share the podcast show and what we do at Supermums with anybody else you know who you feel could benefit too. We want to say thank you once again for joining us, and please do let us know how you get on and what you go on to achieve after listening to the show today.